Well, we went from this morning when we didn't think anyone was going to turn up to we've already done close on 100 bikes coming in and getting the back light and apparently the front light too. Wow, that'll be a difference. So on that count, there will be a lot of people will be bringing their bikes and a lot of riders bringing their bikes in when we do Taliban. What we did was we bought 100 lights, and we've hired a guy for the day to do as many as he can. So you can see these are the bikes that they're not new, so they haven't been maintained is a problem. It's not easy to visualize, but it can be a life, especially while this pandemic foolishness is going on. It can be a situation where you don't have that money. See, he's got no plates. And as I said earlier in one of the other videos, what I would have liked to have seen would be offering all of these bikers with these older bikes, offering them an amnesty, that no check would be made on their license, no check on insurance or registration of the bike, and that way you would actually get the people, you would get the bikers who were most in need. So on this bike we're actually fitting turn signals. Heaven knows when that was last registered. Yeah, so the newer bikes, you can see the real difference. But this one, it's all stripped down, probably where it's been dropped, then broken, breaking that fascia from the fiberglass. And I imagine that those parts are really quite expensive if you were to buy them to replace. Well, I'm really pleased to see that this was a great success. You know, I'm the one who drives home in the dark, and it is hazardous. It's not an overacting job. It's very dangerous because, along with what happens with these guys who ride the bikes, you have the other hazards, and they're numerous. Cats and dogs, children, people hanging out in their little local barangays, which you are passing through. You're riding the national highway and they're just at home and they're hanging out, and for some strange reason, if you say that that was the white line on the road, they'll sit with their back facing they don't face the road, they sit with their butt on the white line. And if you are driving into an area where there really is no other light, then it really is pitch black. And then you've got the big trucks, and the big trucks, the light that they have is very bright. Many of them don't dip their headlights. So you're driving into, on your left, you're driving into a very, very bright source of light, which makes that area, which is your side of the road, into a black hole, and you drive into that and you really don't know what you're going to come up against once you pass that point where the headlight has passed you. And then you can have all kinds of surprises. As I said, people sitting on the road, others may be walking on the road, and that's when you realize that in the West there has been so much education for pedestrians who will have been told from very young, I was told, to walk on the side of the road that faces the oncoming traffic. And then if something is going to happen which could cost you your life, you can step aside and avoid that. So those were important lessons, and they stayed with me. I have stayed with me all my life, and now I see that people actually walk with their back to you as you are driving along, so that they're walking in the same direction as you are driving. So whatever happens, if you're driving into that black hole and people are walking in the same direction, they're not seeing that you're about to hit, and that is what can happen. So it's if only this would take on, and the budget would allow, that more and more bikes would come in and they would have their lights fitted, and it would be a very positive change. Okay, well, that's our little update on our backlight project, and we partnered with PNP. PNP really liked this idea, and the PNP, the station is just down there. You can see that there's an orange looking tricycle, and if you continued on the road, that will be the police station, where we have just rebuilt the dining area and kitchen area, and there's a couple of changing rooms there for the officers, male and female. So we spent quite a bit of time here and got to know everybody, and that was when I approached the chief and asked him what he thought about doing this as a project, which he liked very much. And we've mentioned it now to the PNP in Taliban, and I spoke a little while ago when we were invited to one of their dues. I've forgotten what it was now. It may even have been their Christmas party. The Christmas party is now coming for here on the 15th. Which we found out about that today. We've already made arrangements to go and see Ivy, the little girl who was in an accident some time ago and lost her foot. So the left leg is severed at about here. So the limb, that's it. And so the challenge there will be to try to find a source of a prosthetic foot. Now the thing is that they're quite advanced. It's quite advanced engineering for that foot, for the joint to be able to support the person. And yet it has to behave in a normal way, which is how our own feet work. My own son also lost one of his legs from about the same point as this little girl, Ivy, And when I spoke to him about it, he wasn't able to help. He's in LA, or close to LA, in North Hollywood, and in America. And he, if anything, was quite a discouraging phone call. I thought that he would be maybe able to help, but he said that it took a terrific amount of training to be able to walk naturally with that prosthetic. It's not one of those that you strap it on and it feels totally natural straight off, because you don't realize how much of a sensory perception is coming through all the time. Even through your shoes, you actually get a feel for what's happening, in much the same way as you can have a feel for what is happening when you're driving a car, and you actually feel things through the steering wheel, which you're able to interpret, and it aid you in your challenges of driving on a busy road. Well, I think we're very, very close to running out of lights, but we'll see. I just got back from Taliban. I had to go to the bank there, and Beth told me that, I thought she was joking. I said, how many bikes have you done? And when I'd left, there was about 4 or 5 bikes, and what seemed like very little interest. So it was a real shock to me when she said almost 100. Pleasant shock. Okay, well, thanks for being with us, and we'll be back.